Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I would like to thank the AFITA organizing committee for inviting me to give this talk today. As you see from the title, my talk is going to go around a slightly different subject, although the predominant component of the presentation is still around how we make the best use of information in order to make decisions in agriculture. So I've structured the presentation in a way that first, I don't necessarily want to start with a pessimistic way, but unfortunately it's necessary for people to realize how important agriculture is and present some global perspective from some personal experiences and global projects. So presenting the challenges that agriculture face. And then moving to the role of information and communication technology, integrating GIS, crop modeling in order to make sustainable decisions in agriculture. And finally, just present a small case study of an integrated system that we have developed, my research team with the Fungi University here in Taiwan. So, human has a very large impact, as you know, on the planet. We're surely not treating it well. You know, we're losing the best land for urbanization. A lot goes under, forest fires. Suitable area for agriculture have just basically run out. But so we go and use others. They are not necessarily, the best ones at the price of taking forest away. And land degradation is often predominant in many places through because of poor management. So, basically, it was asked on a very large scale survey what was the most important, most predominant people associated with it as an environmental problem of the 21st century, and basically 51% came up with climate change, which is obviously a very large threat. All the other things related, they come right after: water scarcity, deforestation, desertification. They all basically go hand in hand with climate change and also consequences. So one of the reasons climate change is extremely threatening to food production in general is because cycles of, in the past of extreme events were much more separated apart in terms of time. Now they happen just basically every year in terms of either flooding in places where the prediction says wet places are going to get wetter and dry places are going to get drier. So we see continuous droughts in place and excessive storms and floods in other places. So coming from agricultural, agronomic and agricultural background, this is the world food supply. Basically, how is the planet, the agricultural land divided in terms of crops? And as you see, about 60% of the land is cultivated with cereal, maize, wheat, and rice. And in this part of the world, those crops are just predominant. Probably maize a little less, more towards the Americas, but rice and wheat are just major staple crops in Asia. Small percentage is covered by roots, legumes, animal, fish products. So 60% is cultivated on a larger scale on cereal. The other threat is obviously, as already been pointed out today, that population increase is a major threat, and it will basically happen in places where already facing several problems. What I want to point out is basically the urban population of developing regions is going to go skyrockets and increase. So most of increasing population is forecast for developing countries and more towards the urban. So creating threats even to indirectly to the land because it's going to be abandoned. So agriculture is just, again, it's at the center of all these threats. As you know, food production lays it's the base of the three components here. The social has a very strong social component because of the health, tradition, the culture of producing food, the economic, as well as the environmental. So we have to basically balance these 3 dimensions in order to have a sustainable food production. But with the challenges that I've pointed out, with less land, increasing population, threats on the natural resources, it is predicted that we have to produce 70% more food by the middle of next century if we want to reduce hunger on the planet. And so it's very challenging, obviously. On top of this, it's important to, probably all of us are aware that a lot of the food already produced here is wasted. So there is an important part of that direction that needs to be taking place, limiting, reducing waste of food. Some even produced is not even delivered, and the one that is produced is basically thrown away unused. So this is basically a very scary number. Close to 1 billion people suffer hunger, and basically everyone associated poverty mainly with Africa, but there is a very large number and highest number basically in Southeast Asia, and 50% of these people are basically farmers of marginal land. So again, it's just to present an important, setting the scene of how important is our work both in research and technology transfer to help produce more, but at the same time protecting the environmental resources. So we already succeeded. We had always had threats in the world. We succeeded in the past through the Green Revolution. So this is an example of conversion of Chinese cereal production in terms of how much area was saved through the use of technology. So we've moved from an average of 1 ton in the 60s to 4 tons now. And if we did not have that kind of progress or advancements in research and technology as we had in the 60s with the Green Revolution, new cultivars, new intensive agriculture, we would have needed much more land. So a similar example needs to be created, but with additional challenge this time. So as you know, I don't need to say, but I just want to point it out that ICT in agriculture covers a large, broad spectrum of application, going for all the marketing-related stuff, learning, commerce, but most of the example I will present here deal with basically the use of global positioning systems, satellite application, GIS, and modeling in order to help making decisions. So all these components that I've just mentioned go under a definition of a new relativity. It's already been over 20 years now that in many places in the world, site-specific management is adopted. Basically provide the proper input over space and time. So precision agriculture is the application of technologies and principles to manage spatial and temporal variability associated with all the aspects of agricultural production for the purpose of improving crop performance and environmental quality. So one of the first thing that farmers associated with precision agriculture is the yield monitoring or yield mapping, which can simply be converted into an economic analysis and basically show the area where the farmer is losing money versus the other one that is neutral or the one that is making money. So this is an example of a large farm in Australia, and basically any farmer that sees the dots, the red area, thinks twice about putting inputs or put that area under production. So that's still not enough. It gives a very important indication of where you could adopt the variable management. We need to understand why there is a red spot and what can be done about it. So the yield monitor system you're familiar with is a series of tools and sensors mounted on tractors where as the machine moves on the go, acquires information about the spatial variability of the yields, the quality. Now you can have protein content, starch, mycotoxin, based on the some of these are prototype but very promising, but quality and the yields have already been run on mainstream. GPS in agriculture made it is possible. There are different levels, as you know, here in China as well. There's an auto tracking system with different level of accuracy, 30 centimeters. You can have 5 centimeters accuracy, or there is a third level. This is an example of show in Italy, where basically with the GPS, the machine can go on its own and can do the operation basically with satellite system guidance. So all this information are still, again, I said, it's a set of monitoring and useful information, but they need to put into action. So one of my main expertise is in basically modeling the system. So how we use information that's been collected and make sense of it. The SALUS system approach for land use sustainability is basically the evolution of the SIRIUS model developed by the same group of people in Michigan State, the research group led by Joe Ritchie, who currently retired and just basically taken the position in Michigan State just a few months ago. SALUS reads information about weather, soil management, crop management, and is able to, through the crop module, soil water balance, and the soil organic matter and nutrient dynamics, provide output on yield, the soil biochemistry, cycles, water balance, and temperature. These models were basically built a point-based system, so you cannot execute the models just throughout the farm. So one of the approach that I've been using is integrating them with remote sensing. Remote sensing provides the assessment of the spatial pattern. Crop models quantifies the temporal interaction, and yes, thanks to the assessment of spatial pattern, the inputs to run the model can be obtained without excessive sampling, more of a target sampling. Model input and basically run the model, as you will see in the next slides, both in a strategic as well as tactical mode to make decisions pre-season and during the season. So, the reason remote sensing is very important, and I believe that it will play a crucial role with the prices going down, the availability of even small devices, UAV and so on, is because it's based on basically a physical principle that vegetation responds differently based on what it explores in the ground, as management or soil. So we use plants as indicator of what's happening. The growing vegetation absorbs the red light and at the same time reflects near infrared light if it's in a healthy condition. At the same time, in the same image, if there is a stress, unless it's at a different phenological stages, then the reflectance, the response changes, absorbs near infrared and reflects the red light. So there's several indices that have been developed to transform the spectral signature of the plant into indices that are able to provide information. Recently, I've worked a lot on red edge-based indices which are able to distinguish stresses from chlorophyll versus water stress. So the reason I chose that title in the beginning is that, believe it or not, what made a difference, you probably have seen, I'm from Italy and I live in Rome, and what made a difference in terms of progress, it's not necessarily the mind the Romans or any other ancient people had an amazing mind. If you see how Rome is built and still is, it's just unbelievable. We have made progress, obviously, in different materials, but the difference in the ancient culture versus the new culture, it lays around the knowledge of risk. Until the 1200, basically risk was almost, they couldn't do anything about it. They never used any information from the past or the future to basically take advantage of that information and put it in action. So here, actually this some quotes from the book, it is basically the boundary between modern times and past. It's the mastery of risk. How to put the future, knowing what could happen, and in this way it's through the use of system models, what could happen, and quantify those probability of the event, as you will see in the next slides, and make it use now. So this is basically the difference. So risk management is very, very important, and without the information that we have been seeing today, the collection of information, it is not enough just to collect. We have to use them and evaluate what if something. So predict the future to be used in the present. And so in agriculture, one of the examples that are often used, and basically some farmers have been using it because the system becomes so simple that for some of the farmers that have been trained, it's almost a video games, by running different scenarios and see the best management issues. So this curve, basically the odds on the probability on the y and the net revenue on the x-axis. You see that if you put the difference between 200 and 250 kilograms per hectare, only 1 year out of the 15 years, the 250 kilograms per hectare provided at higher net revenue. So that's obviously not sufficient to decide to put 250 kilograms instead of 200. So running the model in that mode with a set of different options and selecting the one that for the historical weather that has happened on the site with proper the management conditions that were adopted on the field, you can come up with the probability that here 90% of the time the model, basically the yield would be great, would provide greater net revenue if you put 200 kilograms versus 250. Another example where GIS comes into place with the same approach is basically quantifying the proper, the optimal nitrogen management. So leaching versus net revenue. And you see that depending on the pre-selected zone based on the yield variability and on some example of new sensors tomography, as you will see in the next few slides, pretty stable zones were identified where the model was run extensively and validated to see what would happen if I put a different amount of fertilizer. So the first thing to notice that as fertilizer increase, obviously yield increase. This is a wheat crop in southern Italy, so it wouldn't increase much more after 90, only increase leaching. But the three zones behave completely different. So the yellow line, which is the low zone, first starts at a much higher leaching content because it's characterized by stony soils and sandy. So basically nitrogen was never the case, of managing. Actually, shouldn't even be managed. In fact, if you go from 0 to 30 kilograms per hectare, it's the only break point that you make some profit on the area. The green line, the medium yield zone, you go 0, 30, 60. If you put more than 60 kilograms per hectare, you would just increase leaching and not the profit. So that's a very good example of a strategic application and spatial of how you use a model for making decisions in agriculture linked to a GIS. Another example, again, quantifying the best nitrogen fertilizer is converting the nitrogen fertilizer, which is responsible for greenhouse, the most powerful greenhouse gas, the nitrous oxide. It's converted basically in CO2 equivalent, and as you see, as the rate of nitrogen increases, the CO2 equivalent increases, but not the yield necessarily. So that's again something that needs to be taken into account if you're balancing optimization of input for production versus the environmental impact. This is a very interesting slide because seldom the model has been used for tactical, like in season. So we basically quantify that for those zones that I've shown you previously. How do I decide? How does a farmer decide how much nitrogen he needs to put? So we have run the model extensively and measure at the same time. And basically the different zones, depending on how much water is stored in the profile, then you will decide what to put on. So if the medium yielding zone has less than 50 millimeters in the profile, then based on an accounting of how much it rains and initial conditions, then it does not need to put more nitrogen than 60. If it is more than 50, the probability of getting a higher yield, as you see, is the marginal net return in the blue line, it's greater as the available water increases. So that was basically, again, mentioning that the model is point-based. Even though you link to a GIS system, you are still running a spatial application of the system, but you're not accounting for spatially connected processes. So if the water runs off from one area to the other, to the field, with the previous approach could not be quantified. Could be indirectly quantified just because of yield mapping will eventually basically show that one area is doing better than others, and that probably could be because of additional water running on. So I developed a linked Salus to a digital terrain model and to quantify how much water basically runs off from one place and it's routed across the landscape. So this is an example of the results of that model where runoff run on. You see the number close to zero, the dark blue, that means at an area they receive as much water as they lose. So those are the areas where basically variability can be assessed, and depending on the season, those are the areas that in wet years may not produce any yield, but in dry years, that's where you will get the only places you will get a yield. So I mentioned that this system, with the collaboration of the GIS Center of Punjab, Professor Joel right after me, we developed the complex Salus model series basically into a very simple on the web for farmers with basically 17 questions. How do you till your soil? What is the crop you want to use when you plant, and so on, with all the possible management scenario. You simulate and you get a very simple matrix of results quantifying the best here, just the probability of saying you will not do better than a certain amount of yield, average and worse year. So this is an example of a highly productive farm in Ames, Iowa for maize, fully irrigated, largely inputted, and so it could get up to 18 tons as better has averaged as 15 tons of maize, and the worst year 11. So it quantifies the leaching, how much nitrogen is in the soil at harvest, nitrogen use efficiency, the emission, and so provides an index of how sustainable is your management. So this system was then evolved into a WebGIS system, which will present probably one of the applications I think is presented in one of the seminars. Basically Salus is linked, incorporated with a Google Earth, so you can basically digitize on the screen your fields or import a shapefile, as in this case, and select the field where you want to simulate and run the model with the full mode, and again with the same approach, selecting strategic and tactical management. One of the things that I've been using recently is the electrical resistivity tomography. Tomography is one of the applications that is mostly used in medicine, and so this is an example of a soil profile with different tillage systems. So this has a resolution of 2 cubic centimeters, and you can see how different a conventional tillage profile is from a no tillage. And if you want to sacrifice the no tillage system and see what happens, and see the response of the soil, basically after one tillage event, you see that the bottom map resembles the conventional tillage. It can be used to detect the root patterns. So basically, to conclude, the vision, several people that proposed that the machinery size would change. There is a lot of discussion about going a fleet of robots. That's not necessarily what is important. What's important to me, I think, is that in any way the information are collected, they need to be implemented and moved, basically go towards an action. So I've shown some of the very important threats and challenges, but I think the choice we make, how we manage our land, can just be way more drastically than any climate change impact if we continue to do wrong things on the land. Sustainable agriculture needs some rewards, and somehow there is a big need for maintaining ecosystem services, and to value and manage the agricultural landscape, you need to have all this science basically connected: the ecology, socio-economic, the IT, policy, and public education. So this is basically precision agriculture as I presented today. It's a very hard work. I see it as a mosaic. Coming from Italy, the world where we're just being surrounded by mosaics. It's a word that derived from the Greek. It's a patient work worthy of the muses. So this is an example of mosaic in Pompeii, but the aim that we should all have is just to have a mosaic landscape. And I thank you much indeed for your attention. Thank you, Professor Nimamaya. This is my honor to speak about the real-time spatial information and integration application of agricultural management to you. I'm Tianjiu. I'm serving Fengjiang University as the director for GIS Research Center in Fengjiang University. So I'm going to talk about something about how the technique using the GIS and remote sensing and GPS and some other mobile facility for agricultural technology, especially for some of the environmental monitoring things. I think this session is pretty connected to the previous session about the wireless sensor network things. In Taiwan, the government is quite supportive of the GIS development, especially using some special information system, some of the internet and wireless communication, mobile, data share, and three-dimensional things. And lots of the governmental agents in Taiwan, we try to adopt some international standard like the ISO, like the OGC standard, like the SWE, everything. So in Taiwan, there's a very complicated data warehouse has been built for the past 20 years. Along the entire island, there are 1 to 1,000 vector map or raster information for every urban planning site. There are 1 to 25,000 map scale for every rural village. There are 1 to 5,000 map scale for the entire island. And also, there are lots of different kinds of information using some of the GIS technique or some other technique to build a very sophisticated environmental information. For example, this is one of the web GIS. It has been conducted by the Council of Agriculture in Taiwan. This data warehouse records all the previous land information for every farmland in Taiwan for the past 20 years. It's according to each cadastral map, the farm cadastral map information. So it's very detailed, it's very precise, especially for the rice and some of the major productivity in Taiwan. Not only for the rice or wheat or some other major things, also for fruits and some other very sensible short period productivity in Taiwan. All the information are recorded through some of the identification by aerial photo, remote sensing, and some is automatically detected, some is being manually identified, or even have the ground surveying check by all the village people or local agriculture people on site. So in the past 20 years, all the information has been built for a very huge database for entire Taiwan's farmland. And also because of some of the incident in Taiwan, Taiwan is a very fragile island. We are very vulnerable for typhoon and earthquake, those kind of nature disaster. So the government and also private sector, there are lots of like LiDAR facilities, 3D scanners, and everything for ground surveying things. Even for this is some kind of like LiDAR facility to compare about the changes because of the very serious rainfall event just happened a year ago in one of the southeastern part in Taiwan. So we can calculate about the volume for the debris soil and also everything just directly by this kind of technique. So in Taiwan, there are lots of this kind of information is available and has the access in the government or different agent. They can share everything. The reason for that is, one of the reasons for that, it was not came from because of agricultural need, but it came from because this is how many earthquakes we have. 1 year in Taiwan. This is how many earthquakes we can feel 1 year in Taiwan. So on the average, this conference lasts for 3 days. So mostly you should have at least probably 7 to 8 earthquakes you can feel. But luckily, it's not in one site. It's spread out the entire island. And some of the very small Richter scale, you will not be able to really feel, but Taiwan is very vulnerable island. And also, this is how many typhoons we have. This is how many typhoons we have. And these are all real figures felt earthquake from Richter scale for 3.9 to 5.4 just in one day in Hualien area, just about last month. And 1,500 millimeter of precipitation in 2 days. This is quite common in every typhoon during the summer season. 1,500 millimeters. So in Taiwan, if the rainfall is less than 500, we call that drizzle. It's only rainfall. So each typhoon will bring at least probably 500 to 1,000 and even more. And just recently, just 2 typhoons in 1 week. Starting from probably last month, only average, we have 1 typhoon every week. And one of the week, we have 2 typhoons together. So this is really lucky week for the conference. We don't have typhoon. This is a real figure. This is also one of the real figure. This is one of the 3 years ago. This is a Morak typhoon invaded southern Taiwan. It's almost 3,000 millimeters of rainfall poured down from the sky in 4 days. Just imagine 3,000. 3,000 means it's yeah, about 9 feet. I think I'm right. Yeah, about 9 feet of rainfall put down from the sky in 4 days. Just imagine. That's so, and that caused a lot of damage. So normally we have typhoons. We say typhoon is above 500 or to 1,000. But now, because of climate change, everything is being increased, especially for the event and also the domestic critical things. So environmental monitoring things in Taiwan is quite important, and from some of the agents in Taiwan, we built a very sophisticated monitoring station on some of the very dangerous, high risk of the debris flow area. We have the monitoring sites, and there's a mobile monitoring things and also portable things to carry to the site. So there are lots of different sensors, and we all use the wireless sensor network things to connect everything together. So it's the same kind of idea, but this is mobile one. So we can leave this mobile one on the like very steep slope area and just have that survive by itself. It can survive by itself for several weeks. There is a diesel engine generator, and they can transmit all the signals through satellite communication, because during the typhoon event, there's no way for any kind of communication rather than satellite communication. Although it's pretty expensive, but that's the only way, because all the 3G, all the everything, all the microwave, the UAV, the UHF, VHF, everything will be out during the typhoon event. So only the satellite communication. And also for the portable event, portable facilities. So we can carry this portable facility on the site and have this thing stay on the site and capture all the information, like the rainfall, like the water, soil content, like the camera, and many other sensors. And it's all use the wireless sensor network standards, everything. So these are, when we say in Taiwan, we say the debris flow. These are some of the real debris flow. So it happened during every typhoon. So especially because Taiwan has a very steep slope in most of the mountain area. 3/4 of the entire Taiwan island is covered by slopeland or high mountain. So if you walk from one side, like for example from here, you walk from here, then for about 100 kilometers, then you reach 4,000 high of the Jade Mountain. And for another 50 kilometers, then that's sea level again. So it's really steep. In Taiwan, it's really steep. And this kind of debris flow, it happened. It happened during every typhoon event, especially in the mountain area. So in Taiwan, all these kind of monitoring things, we have to capture not only the regular database we built in the common base, but also some of the very important real-time information. For example, this is water quality. For the citizens in Taipei, we drink the tap water. So this is the water reservoir provide drinking water for Taipei City. It's a Jade watershed reservoir. And there are real-time monitoring information, like the pH, like the DOD, like the dissolved oxygen. Every information, if there's anything is accessed for a certain level, and it will send out the alert. So it's all follow the WSN things. And also, like in my university, we also try to develop some kind of like even more remotely controlled things. We say it's a kind of like UAV things. So we have this kind of UAV things can be easily controlled, like one person control the flight and navigation, another one control either the camera or the video things, and you can watch everything directly on the screen. And because it's equipped with the GPS, with everything, so you can even have autopilot as long as you can have it fly out and fly in. So then it can autopilot just follow all the routes. You just draw one of the route in a Google map, and it will follow exactly the route and capture all the image you need. So this kind of remotely controlled things will be able to help us to do a real-time ground surveying and also to capture all the information very simultaneously. So we can even have some other kind of facilities, for example, LiDAR or some other kind of multispectrum sensors. So there are lots of different university or research centers are trying to develop very good sensors that will be able to carry by one of this kind of UAV to identify some of the pest problems or some of the water shortage problem in the farmland. So if we have the GIS information, we have the UAV, we have the ground surveying, then it will be easy for us to calculate any kind of like crop prediction or even any kind of like damage after any kind of weather event. Like this is one of the weather event damages things after one of the typhoon. And also in Taiwan, there are lots of this kind of facility for the mobile one, like the iPad, the PDA, and everything. So we can have all the data warehouse, we can have all the sensors information directly. Go to the iPad and you can carry that to the field and you can have all the information you need. And also you can report whatever you saw or whatever the information is needed in the ground. The directory connect to the server. And all the server will be able to record all the information you have in the field. So in the field there are lots of, like the previous one, the data warehouse for the farmland productivity information. It's not only by the aerial photo, but it's also by some of the ground surveying things by the local village people. They just carry this kind of mobile facility to the ground. And also, because there are lots of this kind of information, we'll be able to embed some kind of crop database and analysis, just like the previous Professor Bruno Bassos was talking about, using this kind of crop modeling things. For the crop modeling, we need this kind of data information. Data information can be captured regularly or in real-time capture. So what we confront with is lots of information that we need to very smartly to organize, well-organize all the information into useful, intelligent information. It's not just very scattered around data sets. So we confront with, we have to make everything as a standard. Then you'll be able to share all the information. So this is one of the Taiwan's or the governmental agent. They try to do all the things now. Just through this kind of cloud technology, we'll be able to publish or to share all the information from each different governmental agent to share to others, because only one bureau will not be able to do all the things because they need information from all the other bureaus. This is one of the examples, and I'm still using the disaster as one of the examples. Even for the disaster things, in Taiwan, like the river basin is belong to the Water Resource Agency's territory. The slowland is belong to the Soil Water Conservation Bureau territory. The forest land are belong to the Department of Forestry. And the slopes, any kind of landslide is belong to the Soil Surveying Bureau. It's all different agents. They all belong to different ministers, and they never talk to each other. So the only way for them is to share those kind of information. and publish this kind of information and also knowledge. So this is one of the example, like for disaster things, all this kind of related agency, they have to share or publish all the information directly. Doesn't matter what kind of platform you use. You can use Google, you can use Whirlwind, you can use ArcGIS Online, you can use whatever platform you use. And it doesn't matter what kind of database you use, Oracle, SQL, DB, whatever. But you have to publish the international standards information and through certain kind of gateway. So in Taiwan, there's a Taiwan portal, say Taiwan GIS portal, being run by the government. So every disaster information has to go through that portal, so all the other agents will be able to share the others. For example, all this information about the warning signal is coming from different agents. If on the upstream, the Forest Bureau send out some of the signals saying there are very high precipitation amount, or even one of the like water resource bureau say, okay, the water level is too high, or even there's no water on stream during the typhoon event, which means there might be some kind of landslide dam has been caused because of the soil erosion things. So this kind of information, they will be able to share all the information directly through any kind of platform, just run by either one agent or every agent, they share the same platform. So it doesn't matter what kind of what kind of platform, what kind of database you're using, but everyone can share all the others information. It's not only the data now, it's information, it's knowledge, it's alert information. Just like the previous session, some of the professors talked about the wireless sensor network, they try to share about the pesticide information. This is the same thing, but this is a very important thing for this kind of disaster-related governmental agent to share all the information and directly on the web. So even you can share like some others, one of the agent, they put some sensor even with the camera for high-risk debris flow area. And so the other agent, they will be easy to share all the information directly and to check if it's green light or yellow light or red lights. If any, like this is the real-time image from one of the monitoring station by the Soil and Water Conservation Bureau. They can easily share it on the web now because of the cloud technology and everything. So all the governmental agents, they will be able to share all the information directly on their own platform now because it's all on standards and they all publish everything on standards. So there are lots of information, there are lots of platforms has been organized. Even internationally for United Nations, there are lots of different kind of projects. This is one of the example we did with some other university in Germany and also with the SPAF company. We try to identify like this, on this platform, it only has some kind of routing algorithm. So it needs to transport some resources from this point to this point. And all the other information being announced by other governmental agents. This is from the Weather Bureau. This is from the Water Resources Bureau. So Weather Bureau say, okay, the rain keep going and the flood is coming. So smartly enough, the system know we have to go through this route. And also the Transportation Bureau say, no, there's a roadblock just being alert or just being announced. So automatically the system will know, okay, this is a new route. I have to go through this pathway. But the floods keep continuing, so it's smart again. No, there's no way for me to transport anything from this point to this point now. So the farthest point I can get is from here to here. All the information being published by other agents or by international wide. So internationally, there are lots of standard things, there are lots of information sharing is doing. Like this morning, when Dr. Chang, the president of the TAITA, he had his keynote talk about agriculture cloud in Taiwan. So it's the same kind of idea because of technology has been quite mature now. You can easily share all the information you have, and also doesn't matter if it's map, if it's sensors, if it's other data, report, more sensing images, everything. And all the different governmental agents, they will be able to share all the data. So every data set, there's only one physical data warehouse. There's only one. There's no duplicate one. But there are simultaneously, we say, backup system. So there are backup systems. But physically, there's only one data warehouse for each governmental agency. So for each governmental agencies, they have their own clouds. But for the entire governmental agencies, there is a cloud, there is something to control all the data sharing and everything being input and output directly. So as a conclusion, from previously, like in Taiwan, has been identified as data acquisition for the past 20 years, and there are lots of information, and now we're doing the data management, and also good for decision support because the technique is quite mature, and all the database and all the data warehouse are quite mature now. Will be capable for any kind, especially for agriculture, especially for environmental changes. We'll be able to use some kind of crop modeling, spatial analysis for sustainable agriculture management. I think that's conclude my speech this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nyonya-san. I think everybody knows that agricultural information needs to be faster and more accurate. So how to make the information easy to read and use? I think the feature and the report is as good as the text. So we hope through the data analysis, try to understand the future. Now, how to make the understand the future? Data research and the collection is very important. I think for the agricultural information about markets and now, so Taiwan make a system, area output research system. The system research got some about orange, pears, and pink apple, banana, earlier, and papaya. This crop is they are sensitive crop in Taiwan about output and price. Now we research area 30 country and 135 towns. You can see the blue areas. The system infrastructure we use system we use WCCA developed towards EVC. PTA database we use DB. Now we change to the smartphone. Information exchange platform we use NT service. Where the information interface was HPIP. The PTA function have the data flow and the land farmer search, exciting state search, and search information and area search. Like we can use UPS and we have a check report. Now system contains and two systems, PTA research system and the farm web search system. The PTA can synergize with the GIS database, and we can get real-time information to the PTA. So we can integrate the GIS database and the GPS model, confirm the exciting state about the land. Based on the contextual data, reduce the artificial error estimation. We can get the land area and the farming population, and now farming area needs discussion. So system can automatically calculate farming area. Synline manager and of national data to the international to advance real-time information. So something the information was secret, so the web system needs ID and password to log in. So the system can print a report to understand the marketing information and output information, and can print GIS map. Now, to get the information, now we can we can analyze the data. So we try to make a Taiwan agriculture planting and marketing information platform get the information to analyze the agriculture product about the price and the output. The year data of each economy in each country and each month and shown up by the future. So you can see the sample. You can see this fish product in each country and each month and each year. Now we can ask by feet. And we can get the wholesale market price of each crop. Next is the real system now we can use. Now, finally we can make a one group just for agricultural information, manager as agricultural product and the marketing information. Just like you can see a yellow ball and the worry about the price and analyze the price. So it's my speech. Thank you, everyone.
So then you also say thank you very much for the organizers in very wonderful conference. So given my 25 minutes, I'm little bit introducing the activity which is called the Dublin. And then you also some idea of our future directions. So again, came from the ASD, which is one of the largest national institutes of Japan. And we have several networks across the Japanese island. And then our research topics covers quite broad. So not just in the IT and electronics, but also the environmental studies and the energy policies, and life science and biotechnologies, and then also nanotech and the material manufacturing, and then the last two parts more like the maintaining the standard. One is the methodology and the measurement science, and the last one the geological study and applied to science. So the really quite broad research topics from the research institute, but each research directorate is kind of sitting inside. So there are levels of communication between amongst these and the research areas, but our project called the Dublin is one of the very unique in the project, which is the synergy between the IPs and the geoscience. So my area, which is information technology and electronics, and then we cover this area, and then also there are several topics in the left bottom side, and then which is one of the interesting area is which is called green IT. They're trying to reduce the energy cost of the IT equipment by using some advanced software technology and some device technologies. And also ensuring the safety of the people in the case of the security issues in the ICT, in the cyberspaces. And also trying to develop the new devices. Of course, we don't want to fight against the Taiwanese folks, but we needed to survive in some sense for the running the device technologies. And also the service engineering is the emerging area, which is more making the money to help our economy. So some of the key keywords have been already discussed from this morning till now. And then there are the kind of the buzzword already, but in our community, we are talking much about some IT convergence, which is trying to more efficiently use of the IT for the helping the other the application area, of course, which includes the agriculture and then the intelligent transporting systems, and then the healthcare, and then I forgot some of them. But this is one of the hot hot topics led by the METI, which is our vertical headquarters, stands for the Ministry of Economics, Trade and the Industry. And then we wanted to be encouraging IT people to work together with application people, how improve our life for the future. And also the fourth dimension in science is quite commonly used for the science people, which is the more like the data-driven science, in addition to the theoretical sciences and the experimental sciences and the computational sciences. So the data-oriented science is the so-called fourth dimension in science. So regarding the computer, there are so much data-oriented issues. So that's why from the IT people, so we are trying to gather these kind of data, and then they're trying to break down into the applications area. And also at the bottom line, of course, in the cloud is a basic technology, and then we also stand for machine to machine and the communications, which has been already discussed during this conference. And also some little tier. So there are a wide variety of the tech terms, but the people are moving in the same direction. And then also this is the kind of concept. So we want to digitize the real world as much as possible, and then moving such data into the cyberspaces. And then we have to more utilize or the abstract the knowledge out of such data, and then you also combine together with the other existing data, and then we map to the real world again. So this is actually the cycle or how these data can be used. And for making this thing happen, the cloud and the computing storage would be the key the platform, and not just for I don't want to say this is just in the hardware platform, but also the meaning of the supporting this cycle much faster than the others. So these are kind of the concept that we are living in the real world side, but also we have to be thinking about the cyberspace side simultaneously. So back to the GeoGrid project again. The GeoGrid is based on the similar concept, which I have been talking about. And the GeoGrid is the number one kind of the combinatory project between the geoscientists and the IT the people. And then also trying to gather the remote sensor data for the for the Earth, and then use something at the cyberspace side and back project again to the real space. So the GeoGrid stands for the Global Earth Observation Grid, and then we intend to provide an e-science infrastructure, and then where the people can they utilize and such in the data, and utilize in libraries and the sources on top of the infrastructure. So the naturally the global science based on the observed data as geographically distributed. So we try to integrate such a geographically distributed data into the single point of the axis. So since this project started back in 2005, almost 7 years ago, people may don't remember that at that time, so there are no Google or neither the Google at that time. So we're quite similar time frame to starting to utilize this kind of data into the web system. So the good thing is that in the left side, there are the bunch of the geocontents in AIST, and there are at the middle, the IP people are looking for the applications, and then the right side, so we actually need to find the right application of people. So the bridging is the contents towards the application people enabled by the advanced IT. IT is key and the concept of the GeoGrid. So yeah, they actually did a little story of it. So the geo people meet in the vehicle, how to deliver their contents towards the application people, and then the grid people like me, who are sitting in the middle, who are looking for the real needs, how to use such an IT for making use. And then using an IT, we try to, of course, there are several challenges, and then actually such in the data format and then after the method each of the data is different by different. And then of course there are the geographical distributions the data is located, and then also the defaults in the sense of the ownership issues. And then we need to ensure the security of accessing such resources and the data. And then the data owner wanted to maintain preserve the data as the issue. And then from the user point of view, although there are a bunch of the data, but it's not easy for the application people to develop their own applications using some of the components and making the single application or multiple application to make things happen. So they're trying to reduce their effort to build the application. So those are some challenges which we have discussed. So some objectives. The primary is we want to help the geoscientists to understand the real social societal issues like global warming and the inventory of carbon dioxide. And there are of course the political issues behind those and the agenda. And then the fourth, this is the critical issues that you find here to discover the alternate energies, including the biomass and the wind power farm. Of course, we still running the new power plant, but in the future, we want to try to change the kind of the portfolio of those energy systems. And also, this might be related to this in the workshop, but we want to use this type of data to predict the kind of the harvest yield or some estimation of it. So they're not sure how to do that by ourselves, but this would be the opportunity for us to work together with the the community here and for these no actions. And then also they helping the decision makers, who to plan to create a hazard mitigations. Of course, we are again the very fragile country, so which Jimmy mentioned for Taiwan, but Japan also they having many aspects, the landslide and the flood and the volcano action and etc. So it's quite similar to the environment we are having. And need to look for the new natural resources, including natural resources. And then also this will be the interesting platform to develop the new types of applications. So here is a list of the components we have. We categorize into 3 reports, and the one is application, second the contents, and third the IT infrastructure. So I didn't have much time to go into the detail of them, but we're having some typical applications which can be easily understood by the application developers, and also we are maintaining the contents which can be used by the application developers, and then including the separate imagery data and the geology archives and the sensor data, and so on. And of course, an IT infrastructure, which you can use it. So some samples, which I just mentioned, for the satellite data archives, which includes the AFITA is the name of the census developed by the Japanese government. And then PARSA, unfortunately, the PARSA no longer operational, but we used to have the very good SAR data, and also the models that were quite popular. So the satellite data is available. And also the second application is trying to integrate between the satellite sensitive data and the field sensitive data, and then trying to integrate between the using the satellite based data and the field data. So that is the framework which we are developing on. And so on. So why we take in the grid as well kind of the core concept of developing this kind of platform, because they actually for this GIS data, we decided to follow the ODC standard, and then simply the user is looking for the particular area, particular point of interest area, using through the catalog services, and then getting some information back to the user, and the user has the data provider to take some area of the data back into the user side, and then the user wanted to do something with such in the database. And then finally, they want to display on the screen. And then, this can be used, right, this in the process. And on the middle, the CSW, WCSS, blah, 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 is the name of the ODC services. And also, on the second tier, or third tier in the middle, the OASIS is the kind of standard body to make the web service. So the GeoGraph is the more generalized concept of the ODC services. So which you can virtualize the data services, because usually you have to find the multiple data servers, but it's not easy for the audience people to find which one is what. So we have the virtual data servers in the middle, and which is which can be the kind of the hub to access to the real data site. And then also the catalog and also the set up the collection of the data catalog. And also processing of the servers, they can be virtualized to the cloud, or whatever you say, cloud or the grid. So this can be quite useful. I mean, based on the OGC very standard services, and then we can enhance touching the services and for all the scalability issues. And also the securities, we can well protect the data access. So the findings, so we identified in several other zones in the grid service, new grid services. This is for the implementation side, but we set up the kind of data service zone, which is maintaining the large amount of the storage services. That is the kind of a part of the GeoGrid. And you can access such a data service zone by using the OGC, W, or any service. And then at the cloud service zone, there are the collection of the applications or collection of the components or library or the small piece of the services. And then also those are hosted by the virtual machines, and you can access to the cloud service zone by using the OGC with processing methods. And then also you can create your own the application by using the workflows. The SaaS stands for software as a service, and the component that's quite useful for them to make such an application. Well, some typical the application that we have them performed to achieve. So this is in the case of trying to understand how the tsunami affect the coastal side in the northern part of Japan. So these in the picture taken before the earthquake and after the earthquake, and then you compare how much in the water they into the landslide. So you will see the big differences between the AFB and the AFC and etc. So those are the area which is not as. And also we have for the quick wave. So again, we are having very many earthquakes, and then we can calculate or interpret the strength and intention of each earthquake, and then using some of the ground data to interpret the area. So we publish this and the data once the earthquake may happen within the less than 10 minutes for the small cases. And also using these in the GeoGrid based on the data with some other the GeoGrid data since deal with the data based on the standard service, so the other portal can use our GeoGrid and the contacts and the various grids. And at the time, actually after the earthquake last year, those folks and set up this kind of the portal site, and they wanted to gather these data as much as possible. And then, of course, we're taking Google Earth is yet another the interface to try to demonstrate our content through the Google Earth the platform. This is actually very familiar to the audience people, so that it's quite easy to for them to understand what's in there. And back to this and that. So I think that my comment quite limited, so that I will skip this kind of stuff because actually well, as I mentioned, the building the application on top of this kind of the GeoGrid is not easy stuff. Oh well, without GeoGrid it's not easy stuff. So that trying to automate the kind of a process. The one is getting some geology information, getting some information on the elevations, and trying to gather or together use something as an output. And of course, some cases you need to access to the large-scale computer system. So at the conventional approach for this and calculating landslide, so you have to get the multiple data from the different sites, and then you pack everything into your site, and then send it to the computing center that use that system for number crunching. So, and then for using the GeoGraph, so you don't need to do such a process. So you just can click on the system so that everything goes through by using the kind of a workflow that I mentioned. So, well, I still have some more slides, but I was told my time is limited, time is up. So they were just showing you some hint of what I want to try to demonstrate here. So one is actually it's a good idea to combine the satellite remote sensing data with the ground up observed in situ data. Of course, the resolution, spatial resolution versus temporal resolution is complementary. So that combining these two different types of the remote sensing data will be good to cover the more broader the area, and then the very fine grain of the temporal resolution. And then we have some of the application stuff already, and then it would be good for the other types of the applications. And then we created called the platform or framework, which is called SFI Satellite Field Integrators. And then if you're interested, so I will give you the URLs of these. And those are actually the frameworks, and of course, created by the standard web services, standard ODC services, so that if you have your own ODC-based service, so that you can we can work together quite easily, or map the data back and forth. And then this again, trying to understand how the water quality of the each lakes is happening. And then these are we are working together with the pioneers in the project. So this is, I think this is my last slide. So the other directions for the I have several directions in here. So the one is the data services. So right now we're maintaining our satellite data services at the AS GeoGraph, and then we wanted to expand our data service, including some other satellite data. And then in Japan, the national government level, they are building the national satellite data platform. And then we want to incorporate with the national satellite data platform with GeoGraph, so that people more easy access to the GeoGraph and the other satellite-based data. And of course, we're asking them to comply with the ODC service and then the other, of course, in the world standards. And secondly, the map service. So we're using the Google Earth Builder as a kind of a new product announced by Google, which is quite interesting. So you don't need to set up your own Google Earth on the enterprise server at your site. I mean on premise. But these services kind of the cloud service, which would be provided by the Google Earth. And you can build your own user interfaces, of course, another standard in the web technology, like an HTML5 and the others. And those contents will be the geology maps and the other global catalog of the best maps. So and also the platform services, the processing services and the cloud. So we don't want to run the big the computing system in-house, but we can access to the larger the cloud services outside. So then also we wanted to invite more the people. We trying to use the Facebook account to access our system, so that people if you create your own account besides the famous Facebook account. So then my last message is that I want to echo the Jim's message, which is whatever the platform is, providing the data, providing the services with the standard format is the key for the future. Thank you very much for your kind attention.